Gucci Mane has been one of the most influential figures in trap music for nearly 2 decades, but recently, fans noticed something unusual. He went completely silent after his protege, Pooh Shiesty, apparently crossed the line. Silence in the hip-hop world speaks volumes, especially when it comes to someone as outspoken and strategic as Gucci. In an era where social media amplifies every move, a quiet reaction is often louder than 1,000 posts, and this pause has left fans speculating, debating, and analyzing every possible reason behind it. From the streets to the studio, everyone's wondering what really happened and why did Gucci choose to step back instead of responding immediately. This isn't just a story about a mentor and his artist. It's about loyalty, reputation, and the delicate balance of influence in the trap game. Pooh Shiesty has been making waves with his aggressive lyrics and controversial actions, but when he allegedly crossed a certain line, it put Gucci in a difficult position. Should he defend his protege at all costs or protect his own legacy and brand? The silence suggests that Gucci Mane isn't just reacting impulsively. He's calculating, observing, and waiting for the right moment to move. In a culture where every post, tweet, or comment can become news, staying silent can be the most powerful statement of all. Fans, insiders, and media outlets are dissecting every detail, from Gucci's social media hiatus to his rare appearances in public, trying to figure out his next move. Is he distancing himself from the controversy, letting the dust settle, or planning a major statement that will shock the game? Whatever the reason, this silence has created a ripple effect, fueling speculation, discussion, and viral debates across platforms. In a world where actions speak louder than words, Gucci Mane's quiet response is already making headlines, proving that sometimes staying silent can be louder than the loudest diss track. After the initial shock of Pooh Shiesty's actions, Gucci Mane's silence immediately caught the attention of fans, insiders, and media outlets alike. To understand why, it's essential to examine Gucci's history and his approach to mentorship, business, and influence in the trap scene. Gucci Mane isn't just a rapper, he's a cultural strategist. Over the past 2 decades, he has built an empire that spans music, fashion, endorsements, and talent development. He understands that every move he makes, every tweet, post, or public appearance is scrutinized under a microscope. This level of awareness means that when he chooses silence, it's rarely accidental. It's calculated, intentional, and loaded with meaning. Fans have come to recognize this pattern. Gucci maneuvers like a chess player, thinking multiple steps ahead before responding to any challenge or controversy. Pooh Shiesty, on the other hand, is a rising star who has been riding Gucci's coattails, benefiting from mentorship, exposure, and credibility that only a figure like Gucci Mane could provide. His aggressive lyrics, high-profile features, and street credibility propelled him to mainstream attention quickly, but with visibility comes scrutiny. Reports suggest that Shiesty's recent actions crossed a line that put both his own reputation and Gucci's legacy at risk. In the music world, loyalty and reputation are currency. For a mentor like Gucci Mane, who has carefully cultivated decades of influence, one misstep by a protege isn't just a minor problem. It's a potential threat to his brand, his business relationships, and his carefully constructed image. Gucci's decision to go silent in the immediate aftermath reflects his understanding of perception. In hip-hop, silence is a tool as powerful as a diss track. By not immediately reacting, Gucci sends a subtle message. He's aware, he's watching, and he's not being rushed into making statements that could escalate the situation. Fans have been quick to analyze this silence, debating whether it's a sign of disappointment, strategic distancing, or even a calculated play to let the controversy simmer until the moment is right. The algorithms that govern social media thrive on this type of ambiguity. Every pause, every missing post, and every delayed reaction fuels speculation, which in turn drives engagement, trending topics, and viral content. Another factor to consider is Gucci's history with conflict management. Over the years, he has dealt with countless controversies, both personal and professional, ranging from legal issues to disputes with other artists. His ability to navigate these situations without damaging his brand is one of the reasons he has remained relevant while many of his peers faded. By remaining silent now, Gucci is applying the same approach, letting the story unfold, observing reactions, and maintaining control over his next move. This patience allows him to assess the potential fallout, consult his team, and determine the most effective way to respond without creating unnecessary drama or damaging alliances. The dynamics between Gucci and Pooh Shiesty also add layers of complexity. Mentorship in hip-hop is not just about guidance, it's about reputation, networking, and mutual benefit. Gucci's silence may reflect a tension between personal loyalty and professional responsibility. Protecting a protege is expected, but allowing actions that could harm the larger brand is a risk. By stepping back, Gucci maintains the upper hand in the narrative. He is not only observing Shiesty's next moves, but also signaling to the public and industry insiders that leadership sometimes requires restraint and calculated judgment. Social media reactions to Gucci's silence have been intense. Fans dissected every Instagram post, every cryptic message, and even his absence from public appearances. The silence sparked trending hashtags, viral debates, and countless TikTok reactions, all of which amplified the controversy. Algorithms are particularly sensitive to ambiguity and suspense. The lack of immediate explanation or statement encourages repeated engagement, speculation, and sharing. In essence, Gucci's decision to remain quiet has inadvertently fueled attention to both Shiesty's actions and Gucci's broader brand, creating a scenario where silence itself drives visibility, virality, and cultural relevance. Industry insiders have weighed in on the situation as well. Many suggest that Gucci Mane's silence is a form of damage control, a way to manage risk while assessing the long-term impact of Shiesty's behavior. In the world of music, alliances, endorsements, and brand partnerships are fragile. One controversial move by a rising artist can ripple through an entire network of relationships, potentially affecting contracts, collaborations, and label dynamics. Gucci's history as a businessman means he understands these stakes better than most. Silence, in this case, is not passive. It's an active strategy designed to preserve influence, protect investments, and ensure that any response aligns with both personal and professional objectives. The silence also highlights the generational gap in hip-hop mentorship. Younger artists like Pooh Shiesty operate in a hyper-visible, high-stakes environment where social media amplifies mistakes exponentially. For veterans like Gucci Mane, years of experience have taught him that immediate reactions can backfire. By stepping back, he avoids emotional responses that could escalate conflict or be misinterpreted online. This approach demonstrates a sophisticated understanding of digital culture, audience behavior, and the ways in which perception shapes legacy. Silence is, in this context, a deliberate method of controlling narrative flow. Another layer to consider is how Gucci Mane's brand operates in the public imagination. Over the years, he has cultivated an image of strategic intelligence, resilience, and authority in the trap world. By not reacting impulsively, he reinforces this persona, showing that leadership is measured and intentional. Fans interpret the silence as a sign of wisdom rather than weakness, creating an aura of control and mastery over both the situation and the broader industry narrative. It's a reminder that in modern hip-hop, influence is not just about music, it's about perception, timing, and narrative control. The stakes for Pooh Shiesty are equally significant. As a rising star under Gucci's guidance, his actions have consequences beyond immediate publicity. Every controversy, viral video, and headline shapes the way audiences and industry stakeholders perceive him. Gucci's silence may serve as a warning, implicitly signaling expectations for behavior, professionalism, and strategic awareness. In hip-hop, the relationship between mentor and protege is as much about teaching cultural navigation as it is about music. By remaining quiet, Gucci allows Shiesty to experience the consequences of his actions without publicly intervening, a move that could strengthen his protege's understanding of industry dynamics while preserving his own credibility. This situation also underscores the modern dynamics of algorithm-driven engagement. Social media platforms are engineered to reward uncertainty, suspense, and speculation. Gucci Mane's absence from immediate commentary feeds these systems, generating ongoing discussions that trend across multiple platforms. Fans, influencers, and content creators dissect every small detail. Every post, story, or public sighting becomes content. By remaining silent, Gucci leverages the algorithms themselves, creating virality through absence rather than action. In the digital era, sometimes what you don't say carries more weight than what you do. Cultural context further amplifies the significance of Gucci's strategy. In hip-hop, mentorship and reputation are intertwined with legacy and influence. Veteran artists are not just measured by their music, but by their ability to guide, protect, and manage emerging talent. By remaining silent, Gucci Mane demonstrates mastery of both cultural and strategic imperatives. He protects his reputation, manages public perception, and signals to both fans and industry insiders that he operates on a level beyond impulsive reactions. Every observer, whether fan, journalist, or peer, interprets this silence as a reflection of authority, patience, and long-term thinking. At the same time, the suspense generated by Gucci's quiet approach drives conversation, engagement, and virality in ways that a public statement never could. Fans speculate, commentators analyze, and algorithms amplify every rumor and interpretation. The outcome is a self-reinforcing cycle. Silence breeds attention, attention generates engagement, and engagement reinforces Gucci Mane's relevance. In a world where visibility often equals influence, this strategy demonstrates the power of restraint. In conclusion, Gucci Mane's silence following Pooh Shiesty crossing the line is far from accidental. It is a calculated, strategic decision that reflects his deep understanding of perception, mentorship, and digital-era engagement. By observing quietly, Gucci maintains control over narrative, protects his legacy, and allows the story to unfold in a way that maximizes attention while minimizing risk. The result is a lesson in modern hip-hop strategy. Sometimes the most powerful move is not to react at all. As the situation continues to evolve, fans and industry insiders will be watching closely, analyzing every signal, post, and public appearance. In this case, silence is not just golden, it's a weapon, a strategy, and a statement that echoes louder than any immediate response ever could. The aftermath of Gucci Mane's silence created a whirlwind of speculation across the hip-hop community. Fans and industry observers began analyzing every subtle signal, his social media activity, public appearances, and even the timing of his music releases. In an era where the algorithm governs visibility, every small gesture can become a viral talking point. Gucci Mane's absence from commentary was not merely about staying quiet, it was a calculated engagement with the very mechanisms that amplify discussion. In digital culture, ambiguity generates attention. By withholding a statement, Gucci allowed the audience, the media, and even other artists to fill the silence with theories, commentary, and debates. This strategy, whether intentional or instinctive, ensured that the focus remained on him and the controversy rather than allowing the story to fade into obscurity. Mentorship dynamics between Gucci Mane and Pooh Shiesty became central to public discussion. In hip-hop, the mentor-protege relationship carries more weight than just the music they produce together. It signals credibility, influence, and cultural authority. Gucci's silence was interpreted as a form of discipline, a subtle reminder that mentorship isn't unconditional. For rising artists like Shiesty, the lesson extends beyond bars or studio time. It's about understanding the stakes of public perception, reputation, and strategic behavior. When a protege crosses a line, the mentor must weigh personal loyalty against broader brand implications. Gucci Mane's decision to stay silent signaled to Shiesty, the public, and the industry that every action has consequences, and that guidance sometimes requires restraint rather than immediate defense. The economic stakes further complicate the picture. Gucci Mane's brand encompasses music sales, streaming revenue, touring, collaborations, and fashion ventures. Any controversy involving one of his associated artists has the potential to ripple across these revenue streams. A hasty public reaction could exacerbate a negative narrative, jeopardizing partnerships and long-term opportunities. By remaining quiet, Gucci Mane exercises control over potential fallout, ensuring that responses are strategic, deliberate, and aligned with both his personal and professional interests. In modern hip-hop, silence can be a form of risk management as much as it is a cultural statement. Social media engagement exploded during this period of silence. Every post, story, and public appearance by Gucci or Shiesty was analyzed frame by frame. Memes, reaction videos, and commentary threads proliferated, turning speculation into content and content into virality. Algorithms favor uncertainty and controversy, so Gucci's quiet approach inadvertently magnified attention. This created a feedback loop. Silence generated discussion, discussion increased visibility, and visibility reinforced the relevance of both Gucci and Shiesty. It's a paradox of digital culture. Doing less can sometimes achieve more, especially when the audience is eager for drama and interpretation. Industry experts noted that Gucci Mane's approach is consistent with his historical methods of managing conflict. Throughout his career, Gucci has navigated controversies involving rival artists, label disputes, and legal challenges without allowing reactive statements to define the narrative. By pausing, observing, and letting events unfold, he maintains a position of authority and control. The decision to remain silent after Shiesty's actions fits into this pattern. It demonstrates maturity, strategic awareness, and an understanding of the ways that public perception shapes long-term influence. For Gucci, every response is a calculated move. Silence is simply another tool in his arsenal. The situation also highlights the role of audience psychology in shaping narratives. Fans are naturally drawn to conflict, speculation, and intrigue. Gucci Mane's silence encouraged the public to engage in collective interpretation, effectively turning the audience into co-creators of the narrative. Every discussion thread, meme, and TikTok video contributes to the story, extending its reach and ensuring that the conversation remains active. In this sense, Gucci Mane's restraint is not passive. It's participatory, allowing the audience to engage directly while he controls the larger framework. Comparisons between Gucci Mane's response and other artists' approaches to controversies further underscore his strategic thinking. Many rappers respond impulsively to disputes, issuing public statements or diss tracks that can escalate conflict and alienate allies. Gucci's restraint sets him apart, reinforcing his image as a veteran who understands the interplay between perception, timing, and influence. The public interprets his silence as a sign of strength rather than weakness, adding to his credibility and reinforcing his authority in the hip-hop ecosystem. The tension between loyalty and brand protection is central to this narrative. Pooh Shiesty, as Gucci's protege, represents both potential and risk. Protecting him unconditionally could reinforce loyalty but might endanger Gucci's broader influence and partnerships. Conversely, distancing himself too quickly could damage the mentor-protege relationship. Silence allows Gucci to navigate this balance carefully, preserving the integrity of his mentorship while also safeguarding his brand. It's a nuanced approach that reflects decades of experience and a deep understanding of cultural dynamics in hip-hop. Legal and reputational considerations also play a role. In today's digital era, every public statement can be scrutinized, misinterpreted, or used as evidence in broader disputes. By remaining silent, Gucci Mane reduces the risk of missteps that could have long-term consequences. This strategy reflects a broader understanding of how modern hip-hop operates, not just as music but as a complex ecosystem of culture, law, business, and public perception. Every decision, whether to speak or remain quiet, is a calculated move in a high-stakes environment. Media coverage amplified the effects of silence. Outlets dissected Gucci's actions, highlighting his absence from events, his selective social media activity, and even subtle gestures in public appearances. The lack of immediate commentary created headlines that fueled further speculation, generating attention without the need for direct statements. This demonstrates a sophisticated understanding of how media, perception, and algorithms interact. Absence becomes presence, silence becomes news, and ambiguity drives engagement. The broader cultural context adds layers of significance. Mentorship, reputation, and legacy are core values in hip-hop. Gucci Mane's decision to withhold comment signals an understanding that influence is not just about music. It's about timing, control, and strategic communication. By navigating the situation without reactive statements, he reinforces his authority and models a way of handling conflict that balances patience with precision. This approach positions him as both a leader and a strategist, capable of guiding rising artists while maintaining his own cultural dominance. Fan theories and speculation reached a fever pitch during this period. Every minor social media update, collaboration announcement, or public sighting was dissected for hidden meaning. Fans debated whether Gucci's silence reflected disappointment, strategic restraint, or preparation for a major statement. Each interpretation fueled engagement and extended the life cycle of the controversy. The algorithm rewarded this sustained attention, ensuring that the story remained prominent across platforms and reinforcing Gucci Mane's relevance. Ultimately, Gucci Mane's approach highlights the interplay between silence, perception, and influence. By refraining from immediate comment, he exerts control over narrative, mitigates risk, and allows Shiesty to experience the consequences of his actions within a controlled framework. This strategy demonstrates that modern hip-hop conflicts are no longer resolved through impulsive statements or diss tracks alone. They require calculated observation, strategic restraint, and an understanding of the digital ecosystem. Silence in this context becomes a powerful tool for shaping both cultural and professional outcomes. Gucci Mane's silence also reflects a broader trend in the music industry. In an era dominated by algorithms, social media, and virality, artists must balance visibility with strategic patience. Every action or inaction can have significant consequences. By choosing silence, Gucci leverages the mechanisms of digital culture, allowing speculation, debate, and analysis to amplify attention without risking misinterpretation. It's a demonstration of modern influence management, where restraint often generates more impact than reaction. In conclusion, Gucci Mane's silence after Pooh Shiesty crossed the line is a masterclass in strategy, perception, and mentorship. It reflects decades of experience navigating public scrutiny, legal considerations, and cultural influence. By observing quietly, he maintains control over the narrative, protects his brand, and allows Shiesty to understand the consequences of his actions. In the age of social media and algorithm-driven attention, silence is not passive. It's a calculated move that amplifies visibility, reinforces authority, and shapes perception. Gucci Mane's measured approach ensures that, even in controversy, he remains at the center of the conversation, demonstrating that true influence comes not from immediate reactions but from strategic patience, cultural awareness, and calculated restraint. As the saga surrounding Gucci Mane's silence progressed, fans and industry insiders began to speculate about the broader implications for both him and Pooh Shiesty. The narrative wasn't just about a mentor and protege anymore. It had evolved into a study of influence, strategy, and cultural perception in the digital age. Gucci Mane's silence, while subtle, created an environment where every minor action or inaction by either artist was magnified and analyzed in real time. Social media platforms thrived on this ambiguity, with discussion threads, reaction videos, and TikTok analyses multiplying by the hour. Every movement, or lack thereof, fed into the algorithmic machine, ensuring that Gucci's brand remained at the center of attention even without him saying a word. The relationship between Gucci Mane and Pooh Shiesty became a focal point of debate among fans and commentators alike. Mentorship in hip-hop has always been a delicate balance between guidance and authority. For Gucci, this wasn't just about music. It was about shaping behavior, instilling discipline, and teaching Shiesty how to navigate both fame and controversy. When Shiesty allegedly crossed the line, it forced Gucci to make a calculated choice: intervene publicly and risk escalating the situation, or stay silent and allow the narrative to unfold on his terms. His decision to remain quiet reflected not only his understanding of mentorship, but also his mastery over audience perception. Silence, in this case, became a tool of teaching, strategy, and narrative control simultaneously. The economic and reputational stakes were equally significant. Gucci Mane has built a multifaceted empire that extends beyond music into fashion, endorsements, and brand partnerships. Any controversy involving Shiesty had the potential to impact these ventures, especially in an age where public perception can influence contracts, collaborations, and business opportunities. By withholding a public response, Gucci Mane minimized the risk of misinterpretation or escalation, preserving his credibility while allowing Shiesty to face the consequences of his actions in a controlled, indirect manner. This restraint reflects an understanding of long-term brand management that many younger artists have yet to master. Social media reactions to Gucci Mane's silence were immediate and intense. Fans dissected every post, story, and public appearance, reading meaning into gestures that might otherwise have gone unnoticed. The lack of a direct statement became a conversation driver, with speculation and debate generating significant engagement. In the algorithm-driven ecosystem, ambiguity is often rewarded more than clarity. Gucci's choice to stay silent effectively allowed the audience to co-create the narrative, increasing the reach and virality of the story without any active intervention on his part. This demonstrates a sophisticated understanding of modern digital culture, where influence is measured not just by content, but by the engagement that content, or its absence, generates. Industry experts quickly took notice of Gucci Mane's strategy. Many commented that his silence was consistent with his long history of conflict management. He has navigated disputes with other artists, legal challenges, and public controversies without allowing reactive statements to dictate the narrative. By stepping back, he ensured that any future response would be strategic, measured, and aligned with both his cultural authority and business interests. The silence also provided Gucci with time to observe Shiesty's next moves, gauge public reaction, and plan the most effective way to respond when the timing was right. In the world of hip-hop, patience often equates to power, and Gucci Mane demonstrated this principle masterfully. The dynamics of mentorship added another layer of complexity. Gucci's silence was interpreted as a subtle lesson in responsibility and consequence. For a rising artist like Pooh Shiesty, understanding the weight of actions both on stage and off is crucial. By not immediately defending or criticizing Shiesty, Gucci allowed him to internalize the impact of his decisions while maintaining the mentor-protege bond. This approach reinforced the idea that leadership in hip-hop is about guidance and influence, not simply defending every misstep publicly. It was a calculated way to balance authority with loyalty, ensuring that Shiesty learned without damaging the broader brand or narrative. Fan and media engagement amplified the effect of Gucci Mane's silence. Every Instagram story, tweet, and TikTok reaction became content, fueling speculation and discussion. Memes, commentary videos, and debate threads proliferated, creating a feedback loop that increased visibility for both Gucci and Shiesty. In this environment, silence is not passive, it is participatory. The audience effectively becomes a co-author of the narrative, driving engagement and ensuring the controversy remains relevant across multiple platforms. Gucci's understanding of this dynamic demonstrates a strategic mastery of algorithm-driven culture, where every interaction or absence of interaction can generate exponential attention. Comparisons to other artists' responses in similar situations further highlighted Gucci's strategic acumen. Many rappers react impulsively, issuing statements or diss tracks that escalate conflict or polarize audiences. Gucci Mane's restraint sets him apart, reinforcing his reputation as a seasoned artist who understands the interplay between timing, perception, and influence. By staying quiet, he controlled the narrative indirectly, allowing the audience to project meaning onto his inaction. In a culture where public perception often outweighs intention, this approach preserved his authority while maximizing engagement and cultural impact. The balance between loyalty and self-preservation was central to this strategy. Protecting a protege like Pooh Shiesty can reinforce loyalty and mentorship, but unconditional defense could jeopardize Gucci's own reputation and business relationships. Conversely, distancing himself too quickly could fracture the mentorship bond. Silence allowed Gucci to navigate this delicate equilibrium, preserving his credibility while implicitly signaling expectations for behavior, professionalism, and awareness of public perception. This nuanced approach illustrates the sophisticated decision-making required to maintain influence in modern hip-hop. Legal and reputational considerations also played a role in Gucci Mane's silence. Every statement or post has the potential to be scrutinized, misinterpreted, or used as evidence in disputes. By withholding commentary, Gucci minimized potential risks while maintaining control over the unfolding story. In today's music industry, where social media can amplify mistakes and shape perception instantly, strategic silence is as powerful a tool as any public statement or diss track. It reflects an understanding of the modern landscape where influence, visibility, and reputation are deeply interconnected. Media coverage amplified the impact of silence further. Outlets dissected Gucci Mane's absence, public appearances, and selective social media activity, generating headlines and content without any direct input from him. The lack of immediate commentary became a story in itself, highlighting the paradox of silence. Doing nothing can sometimes create more attention than doing something. This phenomenon underscores Gucci Mane's mastery of cultural influence, as he leveraged both audience behavior and media mechanics to maintain relevance and authority. The cultural significance of mentorship and legacy added another layer. In hip-hop, leaders are measured not just by their music but by their ability to guide emerging talent. Gucci Mane's choice to withhold commentary reinforced his role as a mentor and strategist, demonstrating that influence involves more than defending proteges. It involves shaping understanding, behavior, and public perception. This approach strengthened his cultural authority and demonstrated that modern mentorship requires strategic patience as much as guidance in the studio. Fan engagement intensified during this period. Every minor action by Gucci or Shiesty was analyzed and debated, creating a cycle of speculation and viral discussion. The silence created space for audiences to interpret meaning, generating content and engagement that algorithms favored. By allowing the narrative to evolve organically, Gucci Mane maximized attention and relevance while avoiding missteps that could harm his reputation or brand. In this sense, silence functioned as both a strategic communication tool and a mechanism for sustaining cultural prominence. Ultimately, Gucci Mane's silence exemplifies the intersection of mentorship, strategy, and digital-era influence. By observing quietly, he maintained authority, minimized risk, and allowed Shiesty to internalize the consequences of his actions. The approach illustrates a nuanced understanding of modern hip-hop culture, where perception, timing, and digital engagement can be as impactful as music itself. Silence becomes a form of control, shaping narrative, guiding behavior, and reinforcing cultural authority without uttering a single word. This strategy also reflects broader trends in modern music. In a landscape dominated by algorithms, social media, and instant virality, artists must carefully balance visibility with strategic restraint. Gucci Mane's silence demonstrates how calculated an action can drive engagement, maintain relevance, and preserve authority. It's a lesson in modern influence management where every decision or lack of decision carries weight and where silence can amplify attention more effectively than reaction. In conclusion, Gucci Mane's decision to remain silent after Pooh Shiesty crossed the line is a powerful demonstration of strategy, perception, and mentorship in contemporary hip-hop. It reflects a deep understanding of audience psychology, digital algorithms, and cultural dynamics. By exercising restraint, Gucci Mane preserved his credibility, maintained authority, and allowed Shiesty to experience the consequences of his actions without public interference. The silence generated speculation, discussion, and virality, reinforcing his relevance while highlighting the intricate balance between mentorship, brand management, and cultural influence. In today's music industry, influence is measured not only by talent or output, but by the ability to control narrative, shape perception, and navigate controversy strategically. And Gucci Mane exemplifies this mastery with every calculated pause. As the saga continued to unfold, the silence from Gucci Mane began to shape not only fan discussions but also industry perceptions. The decision to stay quiet wasn't simply about reacting to a single incident. It reflected a larger understanding of legacy, influence, and strategy in hip-hop. Gucci Mane's career has always been a masterclass in managing both public persona and business interests, and this moment demonstrated why. Silence, in this context, became a form of leadership, signaling control, authority, and long-term thinking. Fans and critics alike began to recognize that his restraint was intentional, calculated, and far more powerful than an impulsive statement or social media post could have been. For Pooh Shiesty, this period of quiet from his mentor was instructive. Mentorship in hip-hop is never just about studio sessions or collaborations. It's about teaching the unwritten rules of survival in the industry. By not immediately defending him, Gucci Mane implicitly communicated expectations regarding responsibility, professionalism, and the consequences of crossing certain lines. Shiesty, who has navigated fame quickly, was being shown a lesson in patience, awareness, and accountability. The silence forced him to reflect, to understand that every action in the public eye carries weight, and that reputation is as much a currency as skill or influence. The ripple effect of this strategy was felt across social media. Every minor gesture, story post, or public sighting became fodder for discussion. Fans debated Gucci's intentions endlessly, while TikTok creators and influencers produced content that speculated, analyzed, and dramatized the situation. The algorithms thrived on this ambiguity, favoring engagement that came from speculation, theory crafting, and viral conversation. Gucci Mane's silence, in effect, became an engine for virality. It's a paradox of modern culture. Doing nothing generated more attention than doing something ever could. Every fan comment, every news article, every reaction video amplified the narrative, ensuring that both Gucci and Shiesty remained central figures in the discourse surrounding mentorship, loyalty, and responsibility. Industry insiders began to weigh in, noting that Gucci Mane's approach was consistent with his long history of calculated decision-making. Unlike younger artists who might respond impulsively, potentially escalating controversy or alienating allies, Gucci Mane's restraint reinforced his image as a master strategist. Every choice he made or didn't make was a statement about control, perception, and authority. Silence, in this case, was a deliberate tool used to navigate complex dynamics while preserving long-term influence. It allowed him to observe Shiesty's actions, gauge public reaction, and plan a response that would align with both personal and professional objectives. The broader lesson for the hip-hop community was clear: influence extends beyond music. Mentorship, reputation management, and strategic communication are essential components of longevity in the industry. Gucci Mane's silence demonstrated that leadership is not reactive but proactive. It is about shaping narrative and perception without being drawn into immediate conflicts. By staying quiet, he preserved authority, protected his brand, and set a precedent for how rising artists should understand the responsibilities that come with visibility. From a business perspective, the implications were equally significant. Gucci Mane's empire spans multiple revenue streams, including music, tour, fashion, and endorsements. Controversy has the potential to affect partnerships, collaborations, and long-term opportunities. By choosing silence, he mitigated potential risks, ensuring that he retained the respect of industry peers, business partners, and the public. This restraint reflects a sophisticated understanding of modern brand management, where every statement, post, or public appearance can have exponential impact on perception and profit. The silence also generated a wave of speculation about what Gucci Mane's next move might be. Fans theorized about collaborations, statements, or public appearances that could signal his stance. Media outlets dissected his every minor action, turning absence into content. This created a feedback loop that fueled engagement, amplified visibility, and kept both Gucci and Shiesty relevant in the cultural conversation. In the digital age, attention is currency, and Gucci Mane's silence became one of the most effective ways to maintain it without direct intervention. Cultural implications were profound. In hip-hop, mentorship is not simply about guidance in music, but also about shaping behavior, understanding consequences, and maintaining credibility. Gucci Mane's silence served as a subtle but powerful lesson in accountability, demonstrating that leadership involves patience, observation, and strategic restraint. Fans interpreted his inaction as a sign of wisdom rather than weakness, reinforcing his reputation as an elder statesman of trap music capable of guiding the next generation without compromising his own authority. As the narrative developed, it became clear that Gucci Mane was leveraging the algorithms themselves. In today's digital ecosystem, silence can generate engagement, speculation, and virality in ways that statements cannot. The lack of immediate response encouraged content creation, debates, and analyses that continuously amplified attention. Every fan interaction, reaction video, and social media post became part of the story, extending its relevance and reinforcing Gucci Mane's cultural dominance. It's a modern form of influence where restraint, rather than action, dictates visibility and narrative control. The mentorship dynamic between Gucci Mane and Pooh Shiesty also provided insight into how responsibility and fame intersect in the industry. Young artists often navigate a landscape dominated by visibility, public scrutiny, and high stakes. Gucci's silence allowed Shiesty to experience the consequences of his actions within a controlled framework, teaching lessons about accountability, reputation, and strategic thinking without public humiliation. This nuanced approach exemplifies how mentorship in contemporary hip-hop is as much about shaping behavior as it is about creating music or performing on stage. The public's response demonstrated the power of ambiguity. Fans filled the silence with theories, speculations, and commentary, generating engagement across platforms. This engagement, in turn, triggered algorithmic amplification, making the story trend repeatedly and keeping both Gucci and Shiesty in the public eye. By understanding the digital ecosystem and leveraging it without direct commentary, Gucci Mane effectively maintained influence and relevance while allowing the narrative to unfold organically. Legal and reputational considerations were an underlying factor as well. Every public statement has potential consequences, misinterpretation, escalation, or even legal implications. By staying silent, Gucci Mane reduced these risks, maintaining control over the narrative while observing how the situation would develop. It was a calculated move to protect both his legacy and his business interests while ensuring that his mentorship remained intact. Gucci Mane's approach also highlighted a strategic distinction between impulsive reaction and measured influence. Many artists react immediately to controversies, often escalating conflicts or polarizing audiences. Gucci Mane's choice to remain quiet allowed him to maintain authority, protect Shiesty from immediate fallout, and control public perception simultaneously. Silence became a strategic communication tool, demonstrating that in modern hip-hop, inaction, when calculated, is often more impactful than action. Fan theories, speculation, and media analyses continued to dominate online conversation. Every public appearance, collaboration announcement, or social media activity was scrutinized for hidden meaning, further extending the narrative and engagement. Gucci Mane's restraint ensured that these conversations reinforced his cultural authority rather than undermining it, turning silence into a powerful force for relevance and influence. Ultimately, Gucci Mane's silence after Pooh Shiesty crossed the line was a lesson in strategy, influence, and mentorship. It demonstrated that in modern hip-hop, success isn't just about music, it's about perception, narrative control, and the ability to navigate controversy intelligently. By observing quietly, Gucci preserved his authority, allowed Shiesty to internalize consequences, and leveraged the attention economy to maintain cultural relevance. Silence, in this case, was a deliberate, calculated act that shaped perception, reinforced mentorship, and ensured visibility across digital platforms.